A battle over barbecue pits two of the state's top officials against each other. Why the Texas Attorney General says a plan to make sure you get what you pay for might be going too far, changing your experience at the driver's license office.
Needs improvement.
See who's putting new pressure on DPS and how that could reduce frustration for you in the future. He's the one running for one of the most powerful positions in Texas.
I see that we are being cheated. The tax burden in the state is being shifted from the Fortune 500 onto your back and onto my back. Mike Collier joins us in studio. We'll look at how his plans could change your tax bill.
Get back! Get back!
There was no reason for him to die. What happened to serve and protect? What happened to, we're here to help this young man that's in distress?
Texas police withholding information from the public when a suspect dies in custody, leaving some families without answers. We explore the loophole in state law making that possible and the efforts to change it. Thank you for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle, and welcome to our newest viewers in Amarillo and El Paso. What if your loved one died in police custody? And what if there was video proof of how it happened, but police wouldn't let you see it? Today, we are exploring a state law allowing agencies to deny information like that, how often it happens, and the fight to make police more transparent in cases like this.
All right, the chair lays out House Bill 3234 and recognizes Chairman Moody to explain his bill.
In other words, a case can be closed, but unless it was closed with a conviction and the information related to it never becomes public. That exception was created to protect innocent people from having their names dragged through the mud. For example, when false allegations are made and a decision is made not to prosecute, the accused may prefer to have as little information released about the investigation as possible. Unfortunately, that well-meaning law has led to some unintended consequences. The most obvious of those comes in situations where the person being investigated has died.
What we want is to be able to hold law enforcement accountable, let the public see what went on. The person is dead. They're not going on to trial. They're not going to end up in a conviction. This bill would close that loophole.
Think of the shocking murder of 5 Dallas police officers last year. The shooter was killed before he could be brought to justice, meaning the records related to what happened that night are now permanently exempt from disclosure. The public has a right to know what its government is up to, and sometimes that impacts people in a very personal way, as you're about to hear from some of these witnesses.
All right, the chair calls Kathy Dyer.
My husband and I traveled here today. We don't know a whole lot about House bills or the Texas law. They were investigating, but they did not come across anything to indicate that any officers had any wrongdoing in my son's death. We were told we couldn't bring any kind of civil action because we didn't have sufficient evidence.
I'm speechless. Your story is very sad to hear. I know it took a lot of effort for you and your family to come here today.
The bill got out of its committee that did not get up for a vote in the full House.
Since launching this investigation, we've heard from state lawmakers already interested in pursuing legislation for the 2019 session at the Capitol, and hundreds of thousands of people have already checked out the full Denied series online at deniedproof.com. Online now, watch the episodes, then explore the cases featured in the series. See the evidence we obtained for yourself. Also, a breakdown of the law letting police keep details like this secret, and a closer look at how often Austin police use that law. And case quizzes, real cases where you weigh the facts and decide if police should have released the video. Plus, go inside the investigation as we take you to the scene that sparked our digging. And an interactive map exploring similar laws in other states. See how they stack up to Texas. The extended experience only on deniedproof.com. Recent court rulings made it more difficult for you to find out how state and local government spends your money.
And it's difficult to trust a government that doesn't let you have access to information about how they're spending your money.
We'll go to our roundtable to look at the legislative effort to restore transparency and why there's not much progress. He may be the most powerful politician in Texas, and Dan Patrick is expected to keep his job as lieutenant governor, but one challenger has different ideas.
The majority of Texans want an honest answer to the property tax crisis, and that is not coming out of Dan Patrick's shop.
Mike Collier joins us in studio to talk about the ideas he hopes will bring voters to the polls. Plus, a battle over barbecue. The Texas Attorney General weighs in on a controversy over how to make sure you get what you pay for when it comes to brisket and beyond. The Texas Supreme Court made it a little harder for you to find out how state and local government spends your money. Two rulings in 2015 blocked the public's ability to get information about how tax money is spent on contracts with private companies and on taxpayer-funded nonprofits. Some lawmakers tried to pass bills to restore transparency, but those failed to clear the legislature. We want to take a deeper dive into the issue with our roundtable. Laura Prather is with the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas, and James Quintero is representing Texas Public Policy Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we talked about these two Supreme Court cases. Let's break down Boeing so far. What is this exactly?
Boeing is a ruling from the Texas Supreme Court in the summer of 2015 that resulted in a sea change as far as taxpayers' access to information about how their money is being spent. It used to be that only governmental entities could claim an exemption under the Public Information Act to cover bidding, competitive bidding situations. And now the Supreme Court has ruled that even the private entities that the government is doing business with can claim that exemption. And it's not just during the competitive bidding process, it's at any point in time. They can say, this will harm me in the future, don't give the information to the public.
Why would the public care about something like this? It seems kind of insider.
Well, I want to know how my taxpayer dollars are being spent, and I think most taxpayers do. I also think that most taxpayers want to trust their government. And it's difficult to trust a government that doesn't let you have access to information about how they're spending your money.
The other Supreme Court case is the Greater Houston Partnership. Can you tell me about that one, James?
Sure. Well, without getting too far into the weeds, what the Texas Supreme Court decided back in 2015 is that they were going to change the standard by which private entities who receive public monies are susceptible to the Public Information Act. And so now under the new standard, it's if you're sustained in a meaningful fashion, then you are then subject to those open government requirements. And so where this has created some problems is determining where that threshold is, and also kind of putting some obstacles between the taxpayer and those entities that are receiving public funds. And so it's generally, it's made the taxpayer's job harder to get information out of certain entities.
Same question I asked her, though. I mean, when you boil it down, how does it really affect Joe Texan?
Mm-hmm. So over the last decade, I'd say that we've seen Texas move in the wrong direction when it comes to government transparency. It used to be that we were a pioneer on the financial transparency front, but as a result of some recent court decisions, Boeing and Greater Houston Partnership in particular, and then also as some legislation has been passed to kind of chip away at the Public Information Act, it's generally become harder for taxpayers to get that information out of their government, and as a result of that, we're less able to hold our government officials accountable.
James, how do you make sure that open records legislation is a priority this next session?
Well, so for our part, the Texas Public Policy Foundation is going to use the interim to call attention to some of the opportunities to advance good government reform. And so what I mean is, for instance, here in Austin, I think we have somewhat of a small controversy involving the city of Austin and Amazon. So as most of us recognize, I think top officials in the city of Austin have put forward a bid using the Chamber of Commerce to Amazon. Now, that's largely been done in the dark. In instances like that, we're going to work to highlight over the interim to show what the importance of this issue is, and then also come up with some meaningful solutions so that instances like that are either mitigated or done away with. The taxpayer has every right to know what its government is potentially putting them on the hook for, and we hope to pass legislation, bipartisan legislation, next session.
Both of your groups have helped form the Texas Sunshine Coalition. What are you guys hoping to accomplish with that ahead of the next legislative session?
I think the purpose behind the Texas Sunshine Coalition is to increase public awareness, to demonstrate that this is a broad-based bipartisan effort. We have entities that are from both sides of the aisle. We've got Center for Public Policy Priorities and Texas Public Policy Foundation. We've got the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas, the Texas Association of Broadcasters, the ACLU. We have people from all sides coming together and crying out that transparency needs to be a priority this session. The lawmakers who have been supportive of our efforts also come from both sides of the aisle. And so our goal with the Sunshine Coalition is to just extend our outreach further and to publicize the issues more. We've created a website, txsunshine.org, where we're tracking various examples of problems so that the public can be better informed. And in this way, we're hoping that we'll get a leg up for the next session.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the work that both of you are doing.
Thank you.
Confusing and frustrating. That's the experience many Texans face when it's time to get a driver's license.
I went to DMV over there across town, and they're like, no, you got to go to DPS. And I was like, all right.
But things could be changing. How a new report could improve your experience the next time you renew your license. He's aiming for one of the state's top positions with a campaign message about the cost of living in Texas.
If you're mad about property taxes, I'm mad about property taxes. Don't get mad at your school district. You should get mad at the state.
Mike Collier joins us in studio with a closer look at how his plans could affect your taxes. You're watching State of Texas. When it comes to power at the Texas Capitol, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick may have the most. He has the power to appoint all the committee chairs in the Texas Senate, which gives him control of which bills move forward and when. But controversial measures like last session's bathroom bill had Patrick facing criticism for how he uses that power. And one critic is a man who wants his job, Democrat Mike Collier. He joins us now in studio. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
So Dan Patrick says he's doing what the majority of Texans want. What do you think?
No, not even close. Not even close, because the majority of Texans want great public schools, and we're starving our schools, and the majority of Texans want an honest answer to the property tax crisis, and that is not coming out of Dan Patrick's shop. And that's why I'm running for Lieutenant Governor primarily. I'm passionate about public education, and we're starving our schools, and we're being cheated on property taxes. And I'm an accountant, and I'm going around the state explaining just why.
Clearly, property taxes is something you enjoy talking about because it's one of your main platform points. You know, how do you expect to cut taxes without cutting revenue?
The reason why property taxes are up is because the state is withdrawing its support for public education. And I've written a report on this. It's on my website. And so it's a very simple proposition. Until the state begins to fund school like they used to, property taxes are going to keep going up. In fact, if you look in the budget, now this is a budget that was signed off by Republicans, it states that property values and the taxes on which they're based shall be increased. And so the funding formula produces a result that Texans do not like.
For those of our viewers that don't know you very well, kind of give me your background. This is not the first time you've run for elected office.
That's right. I ran for comptroller in 2014. Before that, I had been a partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, so I'm a CPA. I've never held office. But I'm just very dissatisfied at the state of politics in general and then what's happening fiscally in the state of Texas. And I lay the blame for high property taxes at the feet of the Republican Party, and I lay the blame for our declining schools at the feet of the Republican Party, and therefore I must run as a Democrat in order to solve these problems. And the Democrats took me in on that basis, and they've treated me wonderfully.
If you become Lieutenant Governor, what is the first thing you're going to do on day one of the next legislative session?
Well, first of all, the retired teachers took a huge hit to their benefits. So day one, we're going to restore those benefits. We have enough money. We're a prosperous state. We must make good on that commitment. Second, we have a loophole in the property tax law that's very unfair to homeowners and small businesses. The owners of large commercial industrial properties are not paying their fair share of taxes. This is very, very well documented. It's a big number, $5 billion. So the only tax move that I want to make in my first term as Lieutenant Governor is to close that loophole and collect those taxes that are due under the law. It is a root cause of our property tax problem. And then in addition, to assure people that their money isn't being wasted, I want to restructure our audit and performance review capability and create an independent commission that's completely separated from politics, which has never been done before, called the Audit, Performance, and Integrity Commission, because nobody knows who to trust. Right? In our post-truth world. So let's create a commission totally removed from politics so people know who to trust.
Interesting ideas. We'll see how it shakes out. Mike Collier, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
A battle over barbecue pits two of the state's top officials against each other.
I just, for the life of me, I can't figure out why a barbecue place wouldn't want to put the scale up front where the customer can see their meat being weighed.
Why the Texas Attorney General says a plan to make sure you get what you pay for might be going too far, changing your experience at the driver's license office.
Needs improvement.
See who's putting new pressure on DPS and how that could reduce frustration for you in the future. You're watching State of Texas. The wait can feel like an eternity, and if you don't get to the driver's license office early, you may not get in. Calling to get a question answered can be just as time-consuming and frustrating. But as Wes Rappaport explains, the Texas Department of Public Safety now faces new scrutiny and pressure to do better.
A couple hours. The longest part was waiting.
Those pesky wait times for 20 million Texans who have driver licenses or ID cards can be frustrating.
Needs improvement.
The Sunset Advisory Commission that oversees state agency effectiveness says DPS should close low-performing driver license offices and invest in basic technology to improve customer service. The commission also says the process is confusing. Dalton Hahn says a one-stop shop would be helpful. He just moved from New Mexico and showed up to the DMV. That's how it works in 42 other states.
I went to DMV over there across town, and they're like, no, you got to go to DPS. And I was like, all right.
Right now, the DMV handles car titles and registration, and DPS handles driver licenses. The report suggests DPS work with the DMV to decide whether to hand off driver license responsibilities.
You wouldn't have to go to different places. The DMV does your titles, it does your registration. It's all right there together. So if you need a new ID and you need to register, like re-register your vehicle, it's the same thing, all right there. You don't have to go over here and then go over to the DMV. And it's just a little bit simpler.
In a statement, DPS says it will issue a formal response by the required May 10th deadline. A spokesperson tells us the department looks forward to working with lawmakers to, quote, fill in important gaps. Wes Rappaport for State of Texas.
This is the first of 3 reports that will come out during the Sunset review process. The Sunset Commission oversees the effectiveness of state agencies. The commission will hold public hearings and meet with lawmakers and agency leaders before releasing their final reports. Attorney General Ken Paxton weighed in on the barbecue battle between Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller and restaurants in Texas. Paxton says Miller is wrong when it comes to how he enforces the law. Restaurants must weigh meat on a scale registered with the state, but Miller said those scales must be in public view so takeout customers know what they're getting. Lawmakers tried to exempt places like the county line that would have to rearrange the entire restaurant so customers can see the scales. Paxton sided with the restaurant, saying the Department of Agriculture added a restriction that the lawmakers who wrote the statute didn't intend. That is, that the food has to be consumed on site in order for the restaurant to be exempt from the scale display. We're joined now by politics reporter Phil Prazen. You covered the barbecue bill. You say there's a backstory to this.
Well, yeah, I mean, this really is a story about the structure of government and who has what power. Right. The Agriculture Department is responsible for weights and measures, so measuring your gas pumps, making sure those are the correct weights and measures, including food scales, right? And so right when Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller was first elected, he thought he didn't have enough people to go out and check all the scales. So he started this new program called Operation Maverick, which raised fees on a lot of the businesses out there, and it irked some, but he hired more people to go check these scales. And that's when one of them walked into the county line and said, hey, do you know that that's supposed to be in the public view, right? And it was on the books. So there was a bit of a punishment there for the county line, and then lawmakers said, whoa, 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 hold on. We're going to exempt restaurants like the county line. They were upset about the fee increases that Commissioner Miller raised, and so they took a little bit about that power away from him. But then he found a way to say, no, you didn't specifically lay out something like the county line, so I'm still going to do it. And then that's how we get to today.
So his office has said that the commissioner will take Paxton's opinion under advisement. Do you think he'll challenge it?
Well, it's a non-binding opinion, so it really is just Ken Paxton weighing in on what a court could say, right? But it is just Ken Paxton's opinion. Sid Miller doesn't have to change anything until he gets sued, which he might down the way.
Texans are serious about their barbecue.
They are. This is, I mean, it's a big political issue now.
Mm-hmm. Phil, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.